Los Angeles in the late 70s was the center of the punk movement that countered the glamorous music and hyped up rock and roll of the time. This is where the Go-Go story began, when a few girls inspired by ideas of freedom and challenging society decided to form their own band. The band started in 1978 with vocalist Belinda Carlisle and guitarist Jane Wiedlin. They were later joined by bassist Kathy Valentine, drummer Gina Schock, and keyboardist Charlotte Caffey. Although the Go-Go's were originally positioned as a punk band, their musical style gradually evolved, mixing punk with pop, which gave them a unique sound, brash but melodic. The girls wrote their own songs and played instruments, which in itself was a breakthrough for a time when most female groups in pop music depended on male producers and writers. The transition from obscurity to fame happened when the Go-Go's signed with the IRS Records label and released their debut album, Beauty and the Beat, in 1981. It was a true triumph. The album instantly topped the US Billboard 200 charts, leaving many legendary artists behind, and stayed at number 1 for 6 weeks. Major hits from the album, such as We Got the Beat and Our Lips Are Sealed, quickly became anthems of the time. The Go-Go's songs were imbued with the energy of 80s youth culture, freedom, partying, yet deep sincerity. Their music conveyed the images of independent, strong women, ready to assert themselves on an equal footing with men in the world of music. The album sold over 2 million copies, making the Go-Go's the first all-female band to achieve platinum status for their songs and performances. However, with the advent of fame came difficulties. Under the pressure of touring, endless performances, and the need to constantly create new material, internal divisions began to arise, and scandals began to surround the band. Like many musicians of the 80s, the Go-Go's members became involved in the party culture, which included the frequent use of alcohol and drugs. This was not a unique problem for the Go-Go's. Many bands of the time faced the deleterious effects of this environment. However, for an all-female band, it added extra pressure and complexity. Belinda Carlisle, the band's lead vocalist, spoke openly about her years-long struggle with addiction to drugs, particularly cocaine. In her autobiography, Lips Unsealed, she detailed how cocaine became a part of her life back in the early 80s when the band was beginning to gain popularity. According to Belinda, her addiction continued over the years, even after the band broke up. She admitted that at one point, addiction almost destroyed her career and personal life. However, such addictions not only affected her health, but also caused tension within the band. Charlotte Caffey, keyboardist and one of the main songwriters, also struggled with a serious addiction to heroin. Although she managed to overcome her addiction, these years left a heavy toll on the relationships within the band. At the height of the Go-Go's fame, when their albums went platinum and gold, tensions between the members began to grow. This involved both creative differences and financial issues. One of the key sources of conflict was the distribution of copyright income. Jane Wiedlin and Charlotte Caffey were the primary authors of most of the band's hits, which meant that they received a higher percentage of royalties than the other members. This caused resentment among the others, especially Belinda Carlisle and Gina Schock, who felt financially disadvantaged. One of the most talked about scandals involving the Go-Go's occurred during their world tour in the early 80s. Rumors of the group's erratic behavior during the tours became a topic for the tabloids. The girls participated in numerous parties where they sometimes went overboard. These stories spread throughout the music industry, and they began to be called the girl version of reckless rock stars. The greatest resonance was caused by the video, which fell into the hands of one of the tabloids. It showed footage from the 1982 tour, on which the Go-Go's members, along with the road crew, behave extremely frank and obscene. There were moments in the video where the contestants and technicians engaged in pranks involving nudity and inappropriate behavior. The video became a real scandal and caused a public outcry. which damaged the band's reputation. While male musical performers at the time could afford such behavior without serious repercussions, for a female group, such an incident was extremely devastating. When the band announced their breakup in 1985, it came as a shock to fans. Outwardly, the Go-Go's continued to look like a unit, but the behind-the-scenes drama and internal conflicts had peaked. Belinda Carlisle and Jane Wiedelin had different visions for the group's future. Belinda, who soon embarked on a successful solo career, was ready to move on, while Wiedelin sought to maintain the creative unity of the group. These disagreements led to Jane Wiedelin being the first to leave the group in 1984, which actually foreshadowed the breakup of the group. The breakup was far from peaceful. In the following years, the band members repeatedly exchanged barbed statements in the press, and legal issues only exacerbated the disagreement. Despite all the scandals and difficulties, their influence on the music industry did not weaken. The Go-Go's reunited for joint tours throughout the 90s and 2000s, attracting new fans, and their classic hits continued to be played on the radio. In 2001, they released a new studio album, God Bless the Go-Go's, which was met with positive reviews from critics and reminded everyone of the power of their music. Additionally, the Go-Go's legacy was officially recognized in 2021 when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was a long-awaited recognition of their contribution to music history and the importance of their role as the first all-female band to achieve such success. This moment marked the symbolic end of their journey to worldwide recognition and cemented their place in the pantheon of musical legends. The history of the Go-Go's is full of both triumphs and difficult moments. Their road to success was accompanied not only by stunning hits and platinum albums, but also by internal conflicts, addictions, and scandals that sometimes threatened to destroy their careers. The Go-Go's didn't just create a successful music career, they opened doors for many other female groups and artists. Their journey has shown that women can control their musical destinies, compose, play, and be successful without depending on male producers and songwriters. Bands and performers such as Bikini Kill, Sleater-Kinney, No Doubt, as well as many contemporary artists, recognize that it was the Go-Go's who set the example for them of how women can dominate a genre long dominated by men. Their courage, confidence, and talent have had a huge impact on the development of alternative and pop music. Today, the Go-Go's remain icons, not only of 80s music, but also of a cultural movement that supports gender equality and artist independence. Their example shows that music is not just art, but also a means of self-expression, fighting for equal rights and breaking preconceived stereotypes.